Folks, welcome to a new era of the Crossing Swords podcast live at Sports City Pizza Pub, and I am joined by Mike Bundt. Bunty, we've done hundreds, it feels like, of these shows virtually on our computers, now in person. How are you feeling today ahead of a big Sabres matchup in Montreal and our first show here in person?
I'm pumped. How can you not be excited? The Sabres are 15-2-1 in their last 18 games. They're sitting in a playoff spot. There's optimism in the wintertime, post-Bill season. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how the rest of this season goes. Big game tonight against Montreal.
Big game tonight, and we are joined by some big faces as well. We have Dreamboat, Doan on the ones and twos, making sure everything is going well for us. Dreamboat, Sabres game tonight. How are we feeling? You know, January hockey, Sabres are meaningful. It feels like the buzz in the city is finally here.
Yeah, I mean, it feels just like the Sabres when I was a young lad where I'd go out for a game and it's snowing. It's snowing here in the city. Traffic's backed up. It's a nice snowy night, but that's what makes the snowy nights even better when you got a Sabres game on a Thursday night. And hey, listen, after a lot of sports news in the city this week, I think we could all use a W tonight.
We can all use a W, and a big W for Brett behind the camera, making sure we're all looking good. The show's running smoothly. Big shout out to Trainwreck Sports, Heard of Buffalo Network for getting this all together, getting us on the airways. And thank you to everyone at home watching along, watching the Sabres season unfold. And guys, it's time to recap this recent run of games, overall vibes. And this segment is sponsored by William Matara Law Offices. The big news last night coming out of the Saberhood, Josh Doan with a 7-year, $6.95 million extension. Bunty, when this news broke, what are you feeling and how important is this move for the Buffalo Sabres moving forward?
Yeah, I was thrilled. This is a game changer for the Buffalo Sabres going forward. Josh Doan is exactly what they've needed for the past decade. He has a little bit of grit, two-way player, young, bright future, and I think we're only seeing the beginning of what he can be as an NHL player. Obviously, the son of Shane Doan, who was one of my favorites in the league for a very long time. And the contract actually is pretty fair to the Sabres, too. You look at the 7 years, just under $7 million. This is a guy that you can put up and down the lineup, and he'll fit in any role that you really put him. Has a goal-scoring touch. And let's be real, none of us thought that we'd see this much production right away, which is just a bonus for them to have him already having success with guys like Tage Thompson and other quality line mates.
Yeah, we had the stream over the summer when we heard that J.J. Peterka was being traded for the Sabres. It felt like we were waiting forever to see what that return could be for 77. And when it came back, I mean, the tape is there. We were a little shocked that this is all the Sabres got. We didn't know the type of player Josh Doan was. And even throughout the summer, all I heard online from Utah fans, this guy is awesome. This guy is a dog. He works so hard every single shift. He just hasn't had, the best opportunity to show that here. But in the limited opportunity he has, he's shown it. And I am shocked just how quickly we've seen Josh Doan blossom really into a star of the Sabres, because you look back to the preseason, he was, slotted on the third line originally, kind of, felt like an odd man out at times. Now he feels like the left winger for Tage Thompson for here on out, where that line is now awesome. He's finding success. He's scoring goals. It is such a big thing for the Sabres that they're getting Josh Doan to, not only be a production from, a third line level, but now it feels like they have a guy for Tage Thompson moving forward as well.
Yeah, it's wild. And you brought up a good point. Do you remember that show we had following the trade? People are like, who the heck is Josh
He's
Doan?
A throw-in.
And we were excited about Kessel Ring. We knew that was likely one of the names that could be mentioned if a trade with Utah happened. But Doan was this guy where we were like, he's Shane Doan's son. Like, okay, like exciting. And then you look at the numbers, and he really didn't light it up in Utah last year. But then you have more time. You start looking at the player cards, the advanced metrics, and then you start realizing, oh, this guy has some decent underlying numbers. He might be better than what we think. You hear some analysts talk the next day. They're talking about how he has 20-goal potential, but none of that was expected to happen year one. We went into training camp thinking most likely this is a third-line guy. Maybe he helps out the fourth line. None of us thought this is going to be a player that's going to be a first-line caliber player year one, and maybe that is a little bit of a stretch for what he is as far as offensive output. But it works with Tage. And at worst, if he's your second liner, that's a good player. And that's what the Sabres have desperately needed, is guys that have that two-way ability that do kind of add other parts to the game.
He does. He brings this kind of grit to the lineup that we've been missing from the top guys. Donnie, I've heard you all Sabre season talking about the team needing some guts. This Josh Doan, like, what does he bring to you where you see this gut in the lineup?
Yeah, he exemplifies the gut. Two-way player, like Bundt said. I mean, he can play on your power play. We saw versus Montreal him just walk right out of the corner, have that top shelf goal. So you got him there. He can kill penalties too. And especially, as a smaller guy, I'm impressed a lot by his play. He's really got some grit, got some gut. He'll block shots for you. He reminds me, I've said, of almost a mix kind of that 05-06 mentality, and even like with some late 90s where, it's not glamorous, but he's quick. He's always in the right place. He's moving his feet at all times, which we'll get into later that this team has to do. And he exemplifies that. And I think, is just a selfless guy. So I love it.
Even got in a fight in one of these games recently. So
yeah, he's as versatile as it gets.
What's going on with the Buffalo Sabres where teammates are actually sticking up for each other and actually getting the crowd into it? And he held his own in the fight as well. So it's exciting to see guys that have skill and more than just that. I feel like it's been Sabres in the past 10 years. You're either a skill guy or you're a grit guy, and you don't have any combo of both. This is a guy that has a lot to work with.
Yeah, he has both those assets, and that's why it's such a great deal for the Sabres. It feels like now and long term, and why this deal feels like universally loved from Sabres fans, from just hockey fans like that. This is going to be a deal that I think we look back on fondly. And you look at, the Kevin Adams tenure as a whole, some of these long-term deals are looking good from the Sabres of, Matthias Samuelsson, now Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin. We're still waiting to see the fruits of the labor from the Owen Power deal. But overall, the Sabres are able to sign these guys long-term, which has been great. We're seeing the Sabres team now. It feels like throughout the course of the season, Bunty, from the preseason on, we're like, we just want to be in the playoff conversation come, Christmas time, come the holiday season. We're through that. We're almost towards the end of January in the first wild card spot. And the Sabres team with this game against Montreal tonight, they're 4 points out with a game in hand. This is a huge matchup. Where are the goalposts for you right now for this team of, let's get to this state to be competitive, to be in a playoff spot, and we're going to still believe that, this 14-year, drought could come to an end.
Yeah, I think you said it well there. Going into the year, the goal was let's be in the playoff race and maybe have a shot of ending the drought and making it. Now I think the goal is you absolutely have to make the playoffs, and you hope that you end up in the top three in the division to where you potentially give yourself a winnable first-round series matchup.
Yes.
Because you are now 49 games into the season. Tonight will be their 50th game. And at this point in time, that they are not a bottom feeder. No. They can compete with almost anybody in the NHL on a nightly basis. So know what you do? You finish it off. This stretch, 15-2-1. Some people could say, well, maybe it's fluky, whatever. People outside of Buffalo might say that stuff. The metrics do not suggest that right now. And then secondly, this is an 18-game stretch. That is 1/4.5 of your season. That's more than you basically have just played almost 20% of your season right there. So this is consistency on a nightly basis. I look at the team. They are very good with their expected goals for. They're better than recent years in expected goals against. Their goaltending is better than it's been in the past. It's still room for improvement. The power play is one of the best in the league. Really, the only area where you look at them and you say it's a clear weakness, their power play. And even their power play at times has some good moments. So I think the goalposts are you got to make the playoffs. You are definitely better than the bottom 5 teams in the conference, and you need to find a way to close it this year.
Got to be able to close it. And, Don, I'm going to kick it to you real quick. I want to give some shout-outs to people in the chat. Micah, good to see you. Schwetzy, always an honor to have you in the chat. /Blades, I mean, Tampa might be a bit of a long shot to catch, but, Bundt, you talked about catching, getting a good playoff series. They catch Montreal. All of a sudden, if the playoffs ended, you're playing Detroit in the first round instead of a Tampa Bay or Carolina. That's a much better matchup for the Sabres. And, they matched up well against Carolina on Monday. They lost 2-1 against a great goaltending performance from Bussy. But that makes it a lot easier playing a team like Detroit, who's also in the midst of a playoff drought. That gives that chance of like, oh, they're not only trying to make the playoffs, they could win a series at that point. Big shout out to Chris, I'm seeing in the chat, Steve Noble, Josh Mooney, always great to see you, Brandon M. Thor. Thank you everyone for commenting along. It's been great. Donnie, just on the Sabres team, we've seen them move the goalpost. Where are they going to get for you where you're going to be like this? I'm believing in this. This is a team that can do it. Or are you already there that this Sabres team has something special about them?
I'm already there. Honestly, I believe going into the year that this team was a team that should make the playoffs. And when I've seen this team at their best, I've seen them not just win, but dominate some of the best teams in the NHL, particularly Western Conference. We've seen them get the Oilers number, beating them twice in their series. We saw them on New Year's Eve against Dallas absolutely dominate that game. In the East, like Bundt said, I'm not just looking for a playoff spot. I'm looking for a top 3 finish. And there's really only one team, I think, in the East, and I might be a little too optimistic, but there's really one team that I think has our number, and that's the Carolina Panthers. We've beat the Red Wings twice. We've beaten the Islanders. I think the Penguins, we are a much more skilled team than in Montreal Canadiens. We had them the other night. I think we have better goaltending than them. I really think it comes down to Carolina. And then Tampa, we haven't seen this year yet, so we don't really know. That was a great question by our guy. I think we see them the end of this month, right?
I believe so. And yeah, that Tampa team is scary, Don.
Yeah, so we'll see how we match up against them. But how we fare against the top 6 that we're just outside of right now, we fare pretty great. So,
and we do have breaking news tonight. Michael Kesselring is back in the lineup tonight for the Sabres after missing some time with an injury. That's going to be a good addition for the Sabres here. So big addition getting Kesselring back. It's always good kind of seeing the fruits of the labor of that trade. You get the Doan extension. You get Kesselring back. It feels like just a good night to reminisce on that moment. And the Sabres team this year, it's been all over the place. They've been hot. They've been not. We've had stretches of bad. We've had stretches of good. And gentlemen, it's time for Who's Not and Who's Not, sponsored by Salino Plumbing, HVAC, and Electric.
I mean, I'm going to go with the most obvious man that you could answer, Tage Thompson. I mean, the guy had a hat trick last week against Montreal and a 5-point night. You look at his January, he's been killing it of late, had another goal against Nashville, over a point per game, having one of the most productive seasons of his career point-wise. Still needs to get a little bit better with that plus-minus. I know people are going to say that doesn't matter, but it does have a little bit of significance still. But, yeah, Tage Thompson has been incredible so far. And there's some other guys I could have mentioned. I could have mentioned Noah Ostlund. Obviously, Konsta Helenius had a great second game against the Predators. But I'm going to go with the most obvious in Tage. And then my Who's Not, I went through the entire lineup. I went through the forwards. I went through the defensemen. I went through the goalies. And I really struggled with this one because I don't think he's playing awful, but it's one of those things where he just has not produced points at all this year, and that would be Jordan Greenway. Now, I like what Jordan Greenway brings to the Sabres lineup. He's physical. This fourth line has been fantastic this year as a whole with guys like Beck Malenstein and Josh Dunne, and at times Peyton Krebs. They've obviously mixed things up throughout the season. But Greenway, we've seen that he has the ability to be a 20-plus point guy, and he has struggled to really generate much offense this year. But like I said, I know that's going to be the Who's Not. It's not me hating him. It's just I had to pick somebody for the segment.
Especially when he's making $4 million a year. It definitely feels that way. Don, where are you at right now? And I might have talked over the intro, so if you want to play that now to get Salino their
That's all right. It's all right. We got it. It unfortunately mutes you, so
that's okay.
No one heard you
out
for
in
a
the
second.
end.
Yeah. So who's hot for me? I went more of a team approach rather than specific guy. This penalty kill. Now, this penalty kill, you might be like, what? They get scored on. But they've shown they are surprisingly deadly and can get some fast breaks, odd man rushes. And here's a stat I want to give you. We're ranked 7th in the NHL in just generic penalty kill percentage. But net penalty kill percentage, which averages in goals you've scored shorthanded, we are 2nd in the NHL. So our penalty kill is I think one of the best things we've got going. We've gotten a lot of shorthanded goals. We've seen Samuelson. We've seen Doan. We've seen a couple guys get some great goals at key moments when we were down. So I'm hot on this penalty kill with that stat. Completely opposite of that. Who's not? The power play. Like we said, I think they're 6 for their 28 in their last 10 games. That's around 20%. Not great. We started, if you remember, this power play was red hot in the beginning of the season. Once we started streaking, winning some games, they've been ice cold. Even worse, they've allowed some shorthanded goals. And the ones that haven't ended up in the net have given me a scare. They've looked a little shaky on the power play. So they are my who's not.
Yeah, it feels like we all went different directions. Bunty went players, Don went team. I'm going into the ether of vibes. And I want to talk to you about this comment from Caden. Not to be doom and gloom, but does this have the potential to be one of the most painful seasons of the century? It does, because for my hot, I have the Plaza. It feels like everything in my being is yearning to be in the Plaza come May, come June, to have, the city of Buffalo in, caring about the city, coming all together. I keep seeing videos on my feed of the 06-07 team, people that Plaza just going deep forever, everyone having the time of their life, watching the game on the screen where it's happening right inside. There's nothing I want more than that. It feels like the buzz in the city is on the Sabres again. I mean, unfortunately for the Bills, it's kind of at their detriment too, with everything going on there. But it feels like the Sabres team right now is captivating this team. And that goes for my who's not as well, is saving money, because ticket prices are not $6 anymore to be going to games. No, they're not, we're not like we're going to see the Maple Leafs play in Toronto, but ticket prices are going up and up. People want to be at these games, Bunty. I know, you upped your season ticket package at this point in the season. Like, it feels like being at Sabres games right now is the place to be at.
Yeah, it's been a really fun stretch of games at KeyBank Center, and it's the most alive I've felt things there in over a decade. I honestly, I can't remember the last time I felt this energy. Now, I didn't go to games during the 10-game winning streak that was obviously all fluky and not real. So it was probably alive during that stretch. But right now, it seems like there's a belief that this team is legitimate and that there really might be something to it. They've had, I think, 7 sellouts so far this season, which is the most that they've had in quite some time. And there's going to be a lot more in these remaining games. We're getting to the point where now Monday, Tuesday games are getting 16,000 plus, which is quite the change from the 10, 11, 12,000 that they've been getting in the past. And I think it's because people truly look at this team and they see comparisons to 20 years ago. I'm not saying this team is 05, 06 worthy, but there are some parallels. A team that was underestimated, that didn't have much expectations going in, an influx of young talent that had some time in Rochester, and then some leaders that take that next step and start playing a little bit higher caliber of play. You look at the record now, what is it, 27, 17, and 5? We're talking about a team that at one stretch about a month and a half ago was 2 games under 500. They are now 10 games over 500 in the points percentage. And then even if you go by regular win-loss record, 5 games over 500, you're at entering your 50th game. You can't talk that down anymore. This is a legitimate team where you look at the record across the entire NHL, they're a top 10 to 13 team in the league right now.
Yeah, and it's the way they've won games versus last year. They've had a lot of comeback wins, a lot of great wins, a lot of wins holding on in the third, which, let's be honest, last year the joke was, hey, if the Sabres are up 2 goals going in the third, put your money on the other team, which it was a bad thing. This year, completely opposite.
It's been the opposite, too, because it's been like the Sabres give up the first goal. You're going to put your money on the Sabres to come back with these better odds. We've seen them come back time and time again after giving up an early goal. It feels like that belief is there with the team. That change really happened under that new, leadership of Jarmo Kekalainen, where we've seen the Buffalo Sabres, really transform who they are. We saw the 10-game winning streak begin at the end of the Kevin Adams, regime. But now we're seeing the Sabres play in a totally different manner. They're having, that gut. They're playing hard. They're scoring goals. They're getting, goaltending they haven't seen since UPL a few years ago from up and down, their whole lineup. It's a really beautiful thing to see right now, Bunty. And, how much for this is to you is, Jarmo Kekalainen coming in and, kind of laying the hammer down that things need to change and we need to play differently.
I don't know if I'd really give Jarmo all of the credit for this. More so, I think it was just Kevin Adams being out that made a huge change. And let's be real, change makes a difference in sports. It gets you new blood, it gets you new expectations, and sometimes it makes you be accountable for what you're doing. The fact that this group of guys went from being one of the worst teams in the league over a stretch of a season last year and then about 25 games this year to now being the hottest team in the league, it tells me that they always had the talent and the ability, but that they didn't have the drive and that maybe they were clouded in what they thought the vision for the franchise was or what their roles would be. And maybe there was even uncertainty with guys like Tuck, who at one period of time, there wasn't a lot of optimism that they would be able to get a deal with Kevin Adams. And now you bring in a new general manager and you have the belief that you can get something done. So new blood, new faces, new optimism.
Down, do you feel that optimism right now? You're at games, you're feeling the vibe of the city, and you're seeing the Sabres team. Is there a difference under this Jarmo era, or is this, we're trying to see something that's not there to, maybe justify why the same players are playing completely differently?
No, I do think I don't think originally Jarmo made a difference, but I think it was the timing. Everyone wants to talk about the Bills and how the timing on the Sabres was perfect. It was at the end of a road trip. He had already met with Jarmo. Kevin Adams gets fired. The boys keep rolling. Tage has even said it's different. It's fun. I like, hey, Jarmo came in and did what I kind of hope happens to the Bills. I hate keep bringing him up, but he came in and says every single one of you is replaceable. That's how we're running this team. That's how it's going to happen. We like Bundt said, accountability. We're coming in. I don't need talent. I want more about the guys and the personality and how they play. That was his whole thing, which sounds crazy. And again, this is a different sport, but I love it. I think he fired the boys up. And sometimes, like Bundt said, you just need change is just what you need. And let's not forget, with Kevin Adams last year, people were bringing blow up, palm trees to the arena. If you're a player, you do see that, and you're kind of like, is this guy a joke? It does make you be like, what the hell is going on in my own arena I'm playing at? So I think it was a mixture of all those things. I feel the vibes. I'm, like you said, season ticket holder, boots on ground most nights. So I'm all in, and this team has proven that they are too.
And let's say this too: winning breeds confidence. So until you do it, you might doubt your ability to do it. They get on a bit of a streak. Like, how many times in recent years do they get 2 wins in a row and they never get the third? They can never build anything. They get that 10-game winning streak. It feels like they finally have that internal belief. Oh, the things that we're getting coached up to do, they make a difference. If we do what we're being told, if we work hard, we have enough talent to be a legitimate contender. Yeah. And I think that's a big part. And I liked what you said about Jarmo saying, you're all expendable. And you know what? That's probably the best message you can tell a team, because when you're coming off a 79-point season and you haven't made the playoffs in 14 years, what reason should any of those players believe that they are above being moved on from? You haven't done anything to show that you're the difference in getting this organization over the top. So I love that messaging. Hold them accountable. And so far, the players have stepped up to the challenge.
Yeah, and I just want to squeeze in and say that on that, I think that's why you've had so much success from young guys, right? Like, they've kept that streak going despite calling guys in and up out of Rochester. And that's kind of, I'll say, the one thing Lindy always is excelled at, and reminds me of the old school Lindy, is he really gets the young guys coming up. It's like, hey, you want to be in the show? Prove yourself. It's nice tonight. We've seen it from Austin. We saw it from the debut last night, 3-point game by
Hellenis.
We saw it from Malenstein. We saw it from even Rosen earlier. That's the thing. Even if we have injuries, and I think that's a lot of confidence comes from the older players too. They're like, hey, a guy goes down, we got a good system in place for a young guy to come up and make some noise.
Yeah, and I want to give a quick shout out to Jake in the chat too of, Lindy is doing a great job with these forwards, especially, the younger guys, maybe some of the guys you think outside of the box of, core Sabres guys, because we're seeing guys step into roles who are, really exceeding maybe even the highest expectations people had. Everyone wrote off Isak Roseanne, after his fifth prospect challenge where he didn't put up a single point. It felt like he was a prospect loss. He comes in this season, finds a role, and he doesn't even be able to keep it with just guys coming back healthy. But you're seeing Austin feel like a Sabre for life at this point. We're seeing Hellenis, in his second game, have a 3-point night. It feels like those forward lines are coming together. It feels like things are really working for the Buffalo Sabres right now, and that's awesome to see. And last thing on Jarmo, I just want to hear a quick letter grade from you guys on the Josh Doan extension, because all we've really seen from Jarmo so far is, some words in press conferences behind the scenes. We've seen him, kind of clear house a bit with some front office positions, bring in Mark Bergevin, moves on that nature. But his first, paper move has been, signing this big extension for Josh Doan. So what letter grade do you have for that? And what do you think it means for Alex Tuch as well with his contract extension looming on the horizon?
Yeah, you have to give it an A.
Yeah.
First, to get a guy like that to buy into the Sabres this quickly, where Josh Doan was saying a couple weeks ago, I want to play for this organization long term. That's what it's going to take to turn things around. It's building a culture, getting people to believe in what you're building. And yes, we felt this way a few years ago, and there was extensions then, and some of those guys are gone now. But it feels like they have moved on from that, and that now they're building something again. And what does this extension mean for guys like for Tuch? I think this is a very good sign, because the whole thought process was Kevin Adams wasn't getting to double digits on Tuch because he didn't think he could re-sign Doan and Benson if he went to double digits on Tuch. What this strikes me as, you're extending Doan in the middle of January, is you're trying to gear up to where you have the option of giving Tuch a very fair offer to try to lock him down before the trade deadline. Maybe it doesn't happen by then, but you're giving yourself the opportunity. Now, it's going to be a tight squeeze. The Sabres don't have unlimited money. It's crazy. They might go from being one of the lowest spenders in recent years to one of the highest spenders in the NHL, but it tells me that after years of thinking there's an internal cap and that they're not playing to try to win, it strikes me now, after getting Bergevin, getting Flynn, extending Doan, that the Sabres are all in. They are finally, for the first time in quite some time, trying to actively win hockey games.
Yeah, I just want to say I like the move again during the year. I've seen, even when we were good, us kind of wait to extend. Well, let's wait after the playoffs. Let's wait this. And I like a mid-year deal. That's something that happens often in the NHL on good teams. And like you said, it means we're going to win now. For Tuch, I don't know. I could see this going one of two ways. Either I'm hoping he goes at a strict line we want him at, because Jarmo can say, hey, listen, you've been waiting for your hometown team to be good. We're finally good. We're going to the playoffs. Don't you want to stick around and see what this can be for another 2-3 years? On the other side, I could also see Jarmo making a big splash in a trade with Tuch if it doesn't work out. So I'm really 50-50 on that. It's because I could see you easily trying to ship Tuch to a seller and be a major buyer at the trade deadline. However, he's such a leader. He's such a guy has been buying in around. It's really going to be interesting to see how this GM treats him.
It's going to be interesting. It's hard not to think of this move by Kekalainen to be an A, getting Doan to this extension. And now, again, all eyes are on the Alex Tuch move, what happens. I think we've been on the same page, Bunty, of, if this extension doesn't happen before it needs to at the trade deadline, I think it's best for the Sabres to keep Tuch and, kind of go all in on the season, especially when you're seeing guys step into these roles, that we might not expect them to, whether it be Hellenis, Roseanne. I don't want to put too many eggs in the basket of the young kids, but those vibes are there where things are happening. It's an exciting time right now for the Sabres. They're over halfway through the season in the first wild card spot, but the job is not done here yet, gentlemen. There's a lot that the Sabres need to do to get into the playoffs still. We still have a lot of games left. So let's get into the Power of Four, sponsored by William Mattar Law Offices. So I asked, we talked in the preseason, Bunty, of, the Kevin Adams parlay that needs to happen for the Sabres to make the playoffs. And right now we're seeing parts of that work, and the Sabres are winning games. As we go into this, back stretch of the season, what's a key factor for you for this Sabres team to make the playoffs?
Yeah, my number one thing is continue to create your own luck by outworking your opponents. What's been so good about the Sabres team in recent weeks, in the last month and a half, is that they continue working hard. I know that's such a simple thing to say, but in hockey, it makes such a difference. In sports like basketball, where you have skill, size, athleticism, and you got 5 guys on the court, 1 guy, 2 guys, they can make the entire difference. They might be able to coast at times. Football, you got the great quarterback. You might be able to win just because you got the best player on the field. Hockey, you have 4 lines of 3 players. You have 3 deep pairs of 2, and you have a goalie. If you're not working your butt off on a nightly basis, you're not going to win at a high level, because hockey has a lot of luck. It's pucks deflecting off of random sticks and body parts in front of the net. It's getting shots on that, and it's working to get those opportunities. And I think in the past, the Sabres too often were a team that were built on skill and sniping. If they were hot with their shots and their sniping abilities, they would have some 5-goal, 6-goal games. It'd be great. But then they would go on stretches where they would score 1 or 2 goals for 3-4 games, and it'd be ugly. What I like about this team is it seems to have the right combination of skill guys that can finish that way, and grittier guys that are going to do other things. You look at guys like Zucker, and obviously we talked about Doan. Those are guys that the Sabres didn't have in previous years. You have McLeod, who has a lot of speed. Even Noah Ostlund, he shows a well-rounded game. And the fourth line has just been absolutely incredible for the Sabres this year. They might not put up many points, but they are making opposing lines work their butts off. And you know what? That wears teams out when you're constantly getting hit and they're outworking you on the forecheck, and then eventually you get 1 takeaway, guys in the right spot, you cash it for a goal. So, like I said, oversimplification, but continue creating your own luck.
Yeah, we're seeing this team, create their own luck. It's not a lucky game of things just happen because they happen. They need to put themselves in better positions. We need to see that happen. Don, what's the key for you for the Sabres team on the back half of the stretch?
Well, mine kind of plays perfectly after Bunt's. It's one of the ways you create your own luck is the thing I have harped on that I love about the Sabres this year. Their way to control the neutral zone by constantly moving their feet, constant motion. You've seen this team, puck bounces off a stick. Why do we have a guy in the right place, right time? Why? Because we're increasing the probability by keeping our feet moving all the time. You've seen in games where we've completely dominated a good team, such as the Dallas game on New Year's Eve. I love going back to that one.
Great game.
Is we completely dominated the neutral zone where all they could do is get into our red line, dump it. We're out before you know it. We're intercepting passes. And another way you control that neutral zone, this is going to sound surprising, but on our 10-game win streak, I saw a graphic. We were 3rd in the NHL, averaging 10.2 cross-ice passes a game. So we're flipping the ice. We're making them chase after us. That's one of the biggest things we can do on offense is when it comes down to the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of teams playing that old school trap. It always goes back to it. You've seen Carolina do it. It's a challenge. You've seen the Panthers do it. They're not quite as good as Carolina at it. But the only way you can beat that trap is constantly cycling your guys in the neutral zone, keeping your feet moving, and looking for turnovers there.
Yeah, at 100%. We have our guy Slick as the 3rd key for our group here today. Slick, what is for you a key for the Sabres team to get to the postseason and end the 14-year playoff drought?
It's simple, and it's something that the Sabres team hasn't seen in quite some time, and something that I've complained about out of the defense for the past couple years, and that's physicality. What I've seen out of this team that's winning games recently, defending the crease, getting guys out of the goalie's vision. You know that especially as a tender. Back checking, Zach Benson, Peyton Krebs, they're some of the best in the business at all of that. If you get bodies on guys, that's the whole point of checking in hockey, right? Separate the man from the puck, separate the man from your goalie's line of vision. If the Sabres can keep being physical, winning battles in not only their own end of the ice, the neutral zone, they're going to create many more opportunities and get a lot of free pucks and opportunities down in the offensive end.
100%. The best offense is a better defense. They're playing both ends of the ice, all three areas. It's awesome to see.
And I'm talking exactly to my guy, Owen Power. You are the one that's got to be more physical, my dude.
All eyes are on 2-5. The Sabres need him to take another step to get to the postseason. My final key for the Sabres team is belief. They need to continue to have their belief. We've seen it throughout the course of this great stretch from them, whether it's giving up a goal early in the game and finding a way to get a quick goal back, stay in the game, take a lead, hang on to the third. They've been doing that. You look back to last game against Nashville. They go up 4-0 halfway through the game, and all of a sudden, everything starts to fall apart for the Sabres in terms of the puck is in their zone. They're giving up a ton of great chances. Nashville is all over them. It feels like they're surviving each and every shift. No idea how they're able to get a win, but they believe. They held down. They survived. The Sabres team has some sort of belief in them that they can win any game, whether it's a game against the Columbus Blue Jackets on the road or they have Carolina in a 2-1 game. They're finding different ways to win, high scoring, low scoring. They're finding different blueprints each and every night to win a game, and that is the most exciting thing. And we look back to the last game against Nashville. We saw the kids line, the new kids line, not only make a good impression, they won the game for the Sabres where they get the first 3 goals in the first period. You have Noah Ostlund getting 2 goals. He has, his 8th and 9th goals this season. He is putting up more goals than I thought he would in this role he has. And then Konsta Helenius gets 2 assists on those 2 goals and then gets his first NHL goal. That line right now of those two and Zach Benson, it was just one game together. They felt like they clicked. They're together tonight, Bunty. What's it mean for you to have, a third line click in that way, but also have it be the young guns? And, I hate reminiscing about older teams and comparing the two, but it feels very similar to some great Sabres teams that pass, having a young third line that can score some goals.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's always fun when you have a young line full of potential and guys that are stepping up to the occasion. Obviously, we had a lot of excitement a few years ago when we had guys like Dylan Cousins, J.J. Peterka, and Jack Quinn. And in some regards, those guys did develop into good NHL players. In other regards, it didn't really work as much as we were hoping it would in Buffalo. But right now, I think what's nice about this current line with Ostlund, Helenius, and Benson is that no one is depending on them to be massive contributors at this point in time. Now, Ostlund's had a good start to the season. He has 9 goals, and he stepped up. Entering this year, he was not part of the equation for who's going to be the top young players. And you look at Helenius just making his NHL debut against Carolina, getting a 3-point first period in the second game. That's a guy that's only a teenager. We talk about how young Benson is. Helenius is younger than him. Neither of them are even old enough to have a legal beverage in the United States yet. So it's really encouraging because it shows that what they're doing in Rochester is working.
Yes.
They're taking time. They're not instantly promoting these guys when they're not ready for it. And yes, we're not expecting the world out of these guys yet, but they're showing signs of development and the ability to really stick around at the NHL level. And we haven't even talked about Kulik, who's been missing all of this season with blood clots. He's a guy that showed potential before. You have Isaac Roseanne in the minors. So there's a lot to be excited about. I think we all know that Benson is already a big part of this team with his forechecking and his two-way game and his setup ability. But Ostlund has been a bonus, and once Helenius is ready, let's be real, he's going to be an impact player on the Sabres team at some point in the future.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching at home right now. If you're still watching at this point, I want to give a big thank you. Please comment a goal scorer for tonight. If that person scores, I have a $25 gift card to Sports City Pizza Pub. Thank you to Mike for giving these out to us. But reward you if you comment. We'll remember it. We'll send it to you. But comment your score prediction and then your Twitter at, Instagram at, the best way to get a hold of you. We will find you, get you the gift card if your guy scores tonight. Bunty, this is exciting tonight. The Sabres are sticking with a pretty similar lineup, keeping their forwards the same. Now adding Michael Kessler into the lineup. We look back to these teams just played 1 week ago today, the reunion night. Tage Thompson had a hat trick. We saw, the power play for the Sabres score twice, but their PK give up 2. Tonight, what's this mean for you in terms of this game and also just getting Michael Kessler back? Like, we're kind of seeing the Sabres lineup continue to be more of what we envisioned.
Yeah, having Kesselring is big, especially I don't know what pair he's on. I'm assuming he's third pair tonight.
Yeah, with Bryson.
And that's something that's been needed. The top 2 D pairs have been played quite a bit the last week or so. You could see them kind of wearing down, getting tired, and late in games, it's been a little bit more shaky of late than it was earlier in this stretch, especially almost blowing a 4-0 lead against Nashville. So having Kesselring back is a big one. This game overall, you have a chance to make it a 2-point gap between us in Montreal
with
a game in hand. So it's a huge one in that perspective, but you don't want to make it feel like the weight of the world is on winning or losing this game. You still have 32 games left in the season after tonight, and this game is not going to single-handedly get you in the top 3 or not get you in the top 3. It's going to be a tough game. You've played 2 of the last 3 nights, and you're playing a Montreal team that's quick, fast on their skates. So Sabres are going to need a complete effort today to come out with 2 points.
Yeah, Dunne, how are you feeling? Kind of final thoughts going into this game against Montreal. Where are you at with this game, and where are you at with this team as we're getting near puck drop here in just a few minutes away?
I'm sure it's going to be a good game. It's always a good game against these guys. When we played them at the 05-06 night, it was electric in the arena, and Canadian fans show up. So to play in their barn now, they're going to want revenge. But this team, we've been looking great. I think the city of Buffalo needs it. I think these guys can get it done. And like I said, I'm not just looking for a playoff spot. I'm looking for a top 3 finish in the Atlantic, and this is the way to do it. You're going to be chasing their tails and the Red Wings the whole time. I don't know if you'll be able to catch Tampa. So this game is huge if you want to finish in that top 3.
100%. Bunty, any final thoughts here as puck is dropped and the Sabres are playing against Montreal?
Should be a good one. Last I checked, both teams were even in the odds for tonight. So Vegas thinks this could go either way. And let's just hope for a victory. You get a win, you're 11 games over 500 and you're within 2 points of Montreal for third in the Atlantic. So a lot on the line, and excited to see how the boys come out to play tonight.
Big game ahead. We saw last game against Montreal. The power play scored for both teams. I'm interested to see if we can get that power kill like Don talked about with his hot. You got Lane Hudson. He loves to be aggressive. He's like a 5th forward out there. He might be able to catch a 2-on-1 with McLeod. And Tuck can go in for the Sabres. Could be a fun night tonight. The Sabres have a great opportunity to make another jump in the Atlantic. To continue this great run they're on, we need to enjoy every step of the way because the Sabres team is fun. Everyone watching at home, thank you so much. If you're still here in the Sabres game on, turn that on. Big thank you to Trainwreck Sports and the Herd of Buffalo Network keeping this all together. And a massive thank you to Sports City Pizza Pub, an incredible place. We've been coming here for years, Bunty, Don. Love it. Incredible food, incredible wings.
Oh, go!
Every day.
1-0 Sabres! Let's go! Right as
City. Shout out
what
Jason
better way
Zucker.
to sign off than that, baby?
Can't ask for a better way. Thank you again to everyone. Thank you to the Buffalo Sabres for scoring while we're on. We will see you all next week at the Crossing Swords podcast. It's been a great job, Bunty, tonight. Don, thank you again. Thank you to everyone at home. And let's go, Sabres!